committee needs to have a quorum, which is the majority of members of a committee. So that's what essentially Rule 162 provides, Chair.
Okay, no, thank you very much. No, I needed to clarify that because for us to proceed, that means we need 4 members. And if to take a decision, if any decision that we need to take, we need about 6. Is that correct, Ms. Kole? Thank you. Anyway, welcome everyone. Members, I've received a few apologies here. I don't have the copies of the letters though, Ms. Kole, but I received an apology from Honorable Kasim, who is running late. He will be here late. I also received an apology from Honorable Mokaus, but I understand Honorable Ndlozi is representing her here today. We also received an apology from Honorable Ntombela, and we received an apology from Vema, Maina Lisoma, and Honorable van der Walt, who is represented by Honorable Manzi. Yes, Waters. Thank you. Thank you very much. You are all welcome, members. Today we are expecting the Minister of Public Service and Administration to be here. I did see her this morning, but I don't see her now. But I don't know, maybe I will hear from the department, maybe she sent an apology, but I have no apology here. And we shall proceed with the meeting. And basically, members, today the matters that we have, and I just want to beg your indulgence, I would like us to consider the minutes at the end. And I would request that we start with item number 4 in terms of your program, which is the briefing by the Public Service Commission on the 4th quarter performance of 2016-2017 financial year and 1st quarter performance of 2017-2018 financial year. And the good doctor there is ready for us, I can see that. So over to you, Doctor. Yes, Advocate Sizani, the Chair of the Commission.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members and the Chairperson of the Public Service Commission and the colleagues.
Yes, you may.
This is the presentation of the Public Service Commission on the 4th quarter performance for the 2016-17 financial year and the 1st quarter performance for the 2017-18 financial year. Our presentations, as following is the outline, but I think we'll go straight to it, Honorable Chair. I think, Honorable Chair, what we would like to present, just a summary of our 2016-17 financial year in total. I know we'll still be coming back at a scheduled time to present our annual report, but just to indicate the following, Honorable Chair, that overall during the previous financial year, the Public Service Commission achieved 95% of its planned target. And then adjustments to the work plan and the non-achievement were mostly as a result of the financial and capacity constraints experienced by the PSC. But I think what is most notable is that out of its 100% of targets, only 5 were not achieved. But specifically when we talk about our 4th quarter of our last financial year, the following were achieved. It is then increased in the finalization of grievances and complaints that were reported within the quarter, and then the ability of the Public Service Commission to maintain the vacancy rate below 10%. And the establishment of the data warehouse, Honorable Chair, and I think this is the data warehouse that will enable the Public Service Commission to be able to generate information that will be used by its stakeholders within the shortest possible time, because the data warehouse will store all this information and as readily available as possible. There was an establishment of an online grievance and complaints management system, which is very good in terms of ensuring that all grievances and complaints that are reported to the Public Service Commission we are able to manage them and report them speedily. So it was also achieved within the last quarter of the financial year, which is the fourth quarter. And there is a migration in in-house management of the National Anti-Corruption Hotline. I think this one, Honorable Chair, was in the past, as the committee knew, was managed by the PSC, but outside. But now this has now been fully fledged, managed internally, so that we can, the PSC can be able to manage its resources effectively. During the period under review, which is the fourth quarter, the Public Service Commission managed to conduct inspections with regard to the availability of learner and teacher support material. This is to ensure that when schools reopen, there is readily available material for the teaching and learning to start immediately. So inspections were conducted during that particular time of the reopening of the schools. There were also various research projects that the Public Service Commission was able to complete during the fourth quarter of the last financial year, and they were the following. It was a report on the assessment of the verification of qualifications of SMS members in the Eastern Cape Province, and report on the assessment of emergency medical services in Mpumalanga, and a report on the investigation into management of the Department of Health in the Western Cape. This was specifically on policy on incapacity leave and ill health retirement application process. So these were the key achievements of the Public Service Commission during the fourth quarter of the financial year, and indeed they were achieved accordingly. What happens here now, Honorable Chair, is to show on this slide that the Public Service Commission during the period, during the last financial year, 16-17 financial year, had 233 million budget, and the expenditure as of 31st of March 2017, which was at the end of the financial year, was 229,039. In other words, it meant that out of its budget, the Public Service Commission was only was left with 194,000, and the norm is 100%. And therefore, in terms of percentage, the Public Service Commission managed to spend its budget accordingly in terms of 99.91%. I think what we also show here, as much as it's not within regard to the specific fourth quarter, is with regard to the entire financial year. I would like to if you allow me, Honorable Chair, just to go through the specific, but we can always look at those that we did not achieve. So the green ones I can pass if it's acceptable to you. Thanks, Honorable Chair. I think the one that within the fourth quarter that the Public Service Commission did not achieve was just to deal with the issue of the 30 days payment. There were 14 invoices that within the fourth quarter the Commission could not finalize them within the within the 30 days in terms of payment. And then I think with regard to this one, there was a business continuity plan reviewed. We could not finalize this one mainly because of the financial constraints, and the one on the workshop on the disciplinary resolution mechanisms to be conducted, we could not secure the facilitators who were supposed to facilitate the workshops accordingly. I think, Chairperson, with regard to this, because I think I just want to draw your attention, and honorable members, to the red items. With regard to this particular slide, there are just two areas. One is where, in terms of the methodology for analyzing strategic plans, annual performance plans, and annual reports developed, the draft guideline was produced post the target time. In other words, it was not achieved within the time frame that was not stipulated. But with the Section 196 report, it was achieved, but it only achieved 2 months later, but it was still within the fourth quarter of the financial year. Honorable Chair, I'll come to this slide, which is slide 27 on your pack. It will be, there's one red there that was not achieved within the fourth quarter. It was investigation of complaints through early resolution of complaints that were reported within 45 days upon receipt of the complaint. I think in this regard, a total of 27 cases were received, of which 18 of the cases were closed within 45 days from the receipt of complaint, and 7 were closed outside the 45 days. And I think that was mainly because of the search of information that was supposed to be provided by the respective departments for the Public Service Commission to finalize that. That is the information with regard to the fourth quarter, Honorable Chair. So if it's agreeable, I can move on to the first quarter of the current financial year.
Okay, you may.
Thank you very much. The summary performance of our first quarter 2017-18, with our targets, 91% of the planned quarterly targets were achieved during the first quarter of our 17-18 financial year. And the key achievements in this quarter are the following: the finalization of the following reports, the draft report on the investigation into the implementation of labor court orders and arbitration awards by departments and the implications for labor relations, consolidated report on learner-teacher support material, an overview of the implementation of financial disclosure framework for 2015-16. And inspections were conducted in hospitals in KZN province and in libraries in the rural areas in Limpopo province. And there were workshops on various reports, the work on various research reports commenced. These are those reports that are scheduled to be completed by the end of the financial year, but during this particular quarter, they were all commenced with the research work was commenced. I think what this slide does, Honorable Chair, is just to show it in terms of the figure that shows that there were only 3 outputs that were not met in terms of the targets. And I think mainly it was because of funding. And the one would say one output was not achieved due to the postponement of a meeting by a stakeholder. And the 2 outputs were delayed due to the need for further engagement with the stakeholder. It was on the constitutional values and principles that the Public Service Commission was piloting in selected departments. I think, Honorable Chair, this gives us a summary of our report, of particularly of the first quarter of our 17-18 financial year. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. On Advocate Sizani, do I have something to add?
I'm just checking
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, actually this is very important that Chairperson was reminding me, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
He was reminding me of the budget slide so that we can bring to the attention of the Portfolio Committee of the budget. The allocated budget for the 17-18 financial year is 245,664,000. As of June 2017, which is the end of the third quarter of the first quarter of the financial year, we had spent 18,194,000. The expenditure until the 30th of June was 58,491,000, and the norm is 25%. But I think what is very important to this slide, Honorable Chairperson, is that the compensation of the employees of the Public Service Commission is 188 million, which means it takes the biggest chunk of the budget allocated to the Public Service Commission. And then the goods and services is 55 million. And what we also need to bring to the attention of the Portfolio Committee is that when we started this particular financial year, we started with a shortfall of 6.8 million. And this shortfall was mainly because of the accrued invoices that were paid in the current financial year, but of the activities that took place during the past financial year. So this means that our current budget was already short of 6.8 because these were of the invoices that only arrived to the Public Service Commission during the current financial year. And this in itself it says the Commission, in terms of its budget, then we are already on 6.8 million shortfall with the current financial year, which is a bit problematic because in terms of the mandate of the Commission with this shortfall, we might struggle to meet that mandate of the Public Service Commission. I think that's the key message that we wanted to bring to that.
No, thank you very much. Members, I don't know how are we going to proceed. We have a situation here. We have the entities here. All the entities are here, but we do not have the minister nor the DG from the department. And we also have a challenge because the Public Service Commission, as you already heard, has a very, very, very dire situation in terms of achieving their targets, given the fact that 97% of the budget goes towards their operating costs, as it is a major cost driver. Over and above that, the members would recall that the department, when we approved the budget, we already knew that they were going to face some challenges because their budget was revised downward, which means that they are not going to be able to achieve their targets. And the sad thing is that we are not really talking about a very big slice here that we're talking about. We have a situation that, therefore, members, that Program 4, which specifically deals with corruption, and unfortunately we don't have the minister here and the DG, they are not here, because that's actually taking up a large chunk of the money that should be earmarked for their work. Now, I don't know how do we proceed because they are not here and they have not apologized. As far as I know, they were supposed to be here, and we are sitting with a situation where they are not here. And I'm just going to hear from the members. I don't know how do we proceed because we had requested them to be here. And over and above that, there were quite a number of issues that we had raised because the members had written to me. One of those members that wrote to me was Honorable van der Vaart. She had written me a letter wherein she outlined her major concerns about some of the reports that were widely circulated in the media about the minister. And unfortunately, I then wrote to her because I requested that she can come to the meeting. I requested that she writes us a report so that we could table it here, even if we don't deliberate on it today. But unfortunately, she's not here, yet she had undertaken to me that she would be here, but she will be presenting a verbal report. Now, all these issues are interrelated because they are also speaking to the functionality of the different departments. So I'm just going to leave it to you members to guide me as to how do we proceed, because we also have to consider the other reports. We have to consider the National School of Government, the fourth quarter performance reports. We also have to consider the report of the public service itself. I don't know. Thank you, members. Honorable Waters.
Chair, if I can just ask some questions of clarity, because it's very concerning that both the DG of the department and the minister have not arrived to attend the meeting. Now, did you get confirmation, verbal or otherwise, that the DG and the minister would be here today?
Yes, I did get the confirmation that they were going to be here. But the only thing that I got, which was a qualification, because I had requested the minister to submit a written report based on to clarify the issues that had been raised by Honorable van der Vaart. She did not submit the written report. She undertook that she will be presenting a verbal report here today. Thank you.
Well, Chair, thank you for that clarity. Well, it's totally unacceptable, the fact that the very DG of the department that's supposed to hold public servants to account doesn't come here and fulfill his, I believe it's a he. Eh? Is it a he, right? Okay, sorry about that. As you know, I'm new on this committee. The last time I was on this committee was when Minister Fraser Moraketi was the minister. That's how long ago it was. So, yeah, so I apologize. All right, but I was in crash. Yeah, you were in crash. I'm showing my age here. But, Chair, it's unacceptable that the very DG whose department is responsible for the performance of public servants actually isn't here himself. And I'm glad the Public Service Commission is here because they can actually take this matter up for dereliction of duty, quite frankly. Where is he? You know, I'm not blaming you, sir, don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is maybe they can investigate why the DG isn't here. It's totally unacceptable. And as far as the minister is concerned, Chair, I think, you know, once again, we see, but she hasn't been here once before this committee since she was appointed the Minister of Public Service and Administration. And it's a dereliction of duty, the fact that she's promised to come here to table a report verbally about the concerns that many members of the public have and members of Parliament, and it's just simply given us the middle finger and not appeared here today. And I would suggest, Chair, that as a committee, that we then subpoena the Minister to come before this committee so we can hold her to account and ask her the pertinent questions that we want to ask her. That would be my suggestion, Chair, and I hope I get some support from the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Ndlozi, after that it will be Honorable Nyami Boy and Honorable Mtao.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Look, it's true that we are engaging, rather we're forced to engage in a futile exercise, listening to entities without accounting officers, with whom the very first question that you posed about the management of this budget, whether it increases, whether it reduces, has to happen between ourselves and accounting officers. So that's the first thing. I think we must align ourselves with those sentiments that if the DG is not here, literally we can't even have a meeting. We should, we can discuss other things. Obviously, we're members of Parliament. We've got many things we'd like to talk about. But we can't engage in a futile exercise. We'll have to have the DG or the minister to be here in order to have a proper, intelligent, accountable conversation with these entities. That's number one. But the second thing, it's not a secret that what has happened today is that Minister Faith Muthambi is running away to be held accountable about the reports of nepotism, but also the reports of corruption that are happening in her department under her instructions. And this is a matter of urgent public importance, that she's using state resources for nepotistic reasons, employing people in an illegal way, firstly, but also in a nepotistic way. Also using public funds to fly friends and families and relatives way beyond the number that is required. That is why she is not here. And that is why some of the members who would have wished this committee not to corrade are not here. There is a deliberate plan to collapse the functioning of Parliament, to hold the cabinet of Ubabaga Tutuzani accountable. It must go on public. We're not scared to say those things. We know that is the case. One, she has run away to be held accountable in relation to that. But number two, The South African people must know that there is now a deliberate plan that some amongst us of members of parliament want to collapse this institution to do its job, this excellent job of holding the cabinet of Jacob Zuma, Mr. Jacob Zuma accountable. That I think for us is the sentiment we want to communicate without any fear or favor. Finally, because in any way she hasn't been here, let's subpoena her. And then let's exhaust all the processes that are available to us. So we would support the process of subpoenaing her to come and account not only about her other duties, but this corruption and nepotism that she is faithful to since being a cabinet member for that matter. I know her very well from communications. And this is the type of attitude we always had to deal with. So that's what we have to say, Chairperson, in expressing ourselves. Thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Nyamipoy.
No, I thought that, Chairperson, the rules are very clear. The DG is supposed to be here to account. It can't be a second-guess arrangement. The law says that it's very clear that you have to drag him to come to the committee. He can't undermine Parliament. He's got no authority over Parliament. And I concur the Minister was supposed to have been here if she's been invited. And if she's not here, you must engage into that. Don't send it to somebody else. It's your responsibility to get her here through the parliamentary rules. And I'm just saying, if she's not here and you have any other difficulty, let's work on it to get her to be here. Subpoena is one of the things that are being suggested by the rules, that she must be here. It can't be any other way. People have to be accountable, hold accountable for all the different activities of Parliament. And this is an important session of Parliament. And so the DG specifically was supposed to have put his hand in here with an apology. This is undermining of Parliament. And this you can't allow where honorable members of Parliament are being undermined. That's unacceptable.
I noted you, Honorable Hlophe.
Thank you very much, Chair. If indeed, and I have no reason to doubt what you said, the Minister had given assurance that she would be in this meeting and she hasn't pitched, it is quite serious. To our mind, it's holding this committee in contempt, holding the chair in contempt, and that is unacceptable. So I support very strongly my colleagues that the Minister should be subpoenaed to come here and account to us first for why she is doing what she did today, and then respond to the issues that have been raised regarding her department. Thank you.
Honorable Hlophe.
Thank you, Chair. If the Minister have confirmed to come and she is not here, I think, Chair, that is unacceptable. That is very dodgy. For the Minister to confirm to come before the Portfolio Committee, the next thing she's not coming before the Portfolio Committee without any reason, that is dodgy. She does not deserve to be Minister, to start with. The second issue that I want to check with you, Chair, I think in terms of Rule 68, we have all powers to call her here. The less I said about the DG is better, because there's a deliberate move to undermine this institution. It happened in Home Affairs, and today we're fighting in Home Affairs because of the one reason. The DG, as well as the ministers, they don't want to come and account. And if I remember very well, Chair, there is a clear communication from the House Chair Frolic to say, let us make sure those issues that are raised and those issues that are in a public domain, they must be dealt with here. So, Chair, if you didn't use that Rule 68, I appeal to you, Chair, to say, please use that Rule 68, not to tell the minister to come, but just to tell her that in terms of the Rules 68, you are empowered to call her before the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Ponepo. Young blood.
Thank you, Chair. From my side, I feel exactly the same as my colleagues here in terms of the kind of action that we should pursue with regards to the Minister and her not turning up. To me, it seems as though the minister has really learned nothing from the poor performance in her previous portfolio committee communications, which was left in tatters when she left there and came over to us. Now, what is of really great concern to me is that the minister and her department is responsible for developing the norms, the values, and the standards for the public sector, and to ensure that it is in line with the highest ethical standard. I fail to understand how a minister who cocks a snook at the committee that deals with public servants by not turning up. I fail to understand how she can think that she's got the moral standing, and I also take it in the light of the recent scandals that we read about, to fulfill her role as a minister. The other point I wish to make, that if this committee cannot continue, if we can't continue our deliberations, who is going to be responsible for the wasted money? There's a lot of people who came from all over the country to present here, and the most important people failed to turn up, even though they promised that they would. And lastly, I want to question the minister's ability to negotiate the public wage bill, if this is the way in which she goes about her duties. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Before I make my own comments, welcome Prof. Msimang, Honorable Prof. Msimang. She's our new member of the committee from the IFP. You are most welcome, and we look forward to the engagements. This committee is very free. We try by all means to make sure that all members are given, sufficient space and time to engage on issues. Thank you very much. Members, I think it's important that I bring to your attention the fact that I was with Honorable Muthambi this morning. She was here in Cape Town. We're together. And even at the meeting where I was with her, she did not indicate that she won't be coming to this meeting. She did not tell me that she's not going to come to the meeting. And my understanding was that she was down here in order to attend this particular meeting. I am not sure about the DG, whether he was here as well or not. So that is a matter that I will definitely investigate and find out whether the DG did come down as well. Because to me, that is fruitless and wasteful expenditure. You can't come to Cape Town supposed to be attending a meeting, a portfolio committee meeting, and then you don't pitch up to the meeting, nor do you have the courtesy of advising the chair that you may not be able because maybe there's been some emergency or whatsoever. I did not receive that. Now, the members are also raising some important issues here, which let me go to what Honorable Youngblood is raising. And to me, it is indeed, and I concur with you, this is a very important department. This is a department that is responsible to set norms and standards for the entire public service. And by the way, the public service is not only national government. We're talking about local government, we're talking about provincial government, we're talking about SOEs, we're talking about all state-owned entities. Now, given the level of the governance, the state of governance in most of these entities, it's really tragic that she is not here. And one would have expected that she would have made an effort to be here because she's exemplary, especially because we are dealing with the PSC. The PSC won't be able to fulfill its constitutional obligations unless it is given the resources that must accompany that mandate. Already when we approved the budget, we knew that this entity is spending 97% on operating costs, which suggests that we are paying people in order to be paid and not in order to do the work, because only 3% is left for them to implement their programs. And we had agreed with the minister that the situation at PSC has got to be addressed urgently. And right now, the PSC is already telling us about the shortfalls. It's still early on in the year, and they already have shortfalls. Now, how are they going to execute their mandate? We have a challenge in this country of corruption, and for us not to devote our energies and ensure that such entities like the PSC, which I must say that despite your challenges, having achieved 95% of your planned targets, to me, in the last quarter, to me, is very encouraging, because you are trying within the very, very limited resources. And I had started engagements with the minister because I felt strongly, and you will recall that I had engaged the minister. I actually raised it even in a different forum to say, Minister, we really, really have to find money for the PSC. Now, to me, it's a problem, because we have the minister here who is spending despite these shortfalls that we are having. We have the minister who is accused of spending money on friends and family members, accused of hiring friends and family, as Honorable Ndlozi was saying, and yet she can't find the money to actually address the shortfall that the PSC has. How is the PSC going to implement Program 4 in particular, which is the program that deals with corruption? And I don't think we should be apologetic about these issues, and I agree with Honorable Nyami that, you know, we need to ensure that the DG is here. I did not receive anything from the GD until now. I didn't know that the DG was not coming. I had expected that the DG would be here as well. He is the accounting officer, and when we are dealing with these operational issues, she ought to be here. Now, members, I think you are correct, Honorable Hlophe, that we need to revoke Rule 68. But, you know, one tries to be fair, because I thought, because the minister had undertaken that she would come to the committee, even though I wasn't very happy. I mean, Mastole would tell you, because I was very upset when we got the message that the minister is saying, no, she's not going to give us a written report. She will rather come and give us a verbal report. But now she has not even given us that the verbal report that she had promised. So, members, I do think that we will have to address these matters. However, my view is that we should not also contribute in the fruitless and wasteful expenditure. I would implore upon members to allow us to take the school, if the school is going to be here. Let them present, and all the issues that we would have asked the DG or the minister, I would suggest that we can then, those issues, we can then park them and engage with them when we have them here. They have a legal obligation to be here. They have to come here and account. Whether I am here as the chair or not, they've got to come before these structures of parliament. that are supposed to hold them accountable. And I don't think that this is acceptable. And I undertake to the members to ensure that I do write to the minister and the DG, as already recommended. I will also advise Honorable Frolick, because I had spoken to Honorable Frolick as well, and he is the one that actually gave me the green light to proceed with the meeting. Okay, Honorable Ndlozi and Honorable Mutau.
No, Chair, you know, because when we started, you asked about the quorum and our capacity to take decisions. As you know, I mean, we know that 5 of the ANC members are boycotting this committee because of the politics of the ANC. And because you are asking, we're trying to take decisions, and according to the quorum, we're not correcting to take decisions. And so we know, we've got it confirmed that we do correct.
Yes, we
okay,
do.
that's fine, because my point about...
I'm not sure if you've forgotten that you are actually counted.
No, I know.
Yes, so we do have the quorum because you are also here.
That's fine.
And you announced yourself that you are here representing Makaos as an alternate. I
did not count you.
Just a kind reminder.
I did not count you as the chair.
Count me, I'm a member.
All right, no, that's fine. But Chairperson, my simple point is obviously that I think if there is that type of an activity where the work of Parliament is being sabotaged in these ways, because you must be able to explain to the South African public in no equivocal terms that what we have here today is not the absconding of the minister and the DG only. That we also have a problem of people who have taken a decision that they're not going to participate in holding the minister accountable. They're not going to do their parliament duties as public representative as the Constitution expects them to. But I'm happy we are correcting. The problem is that I did not count you in. So I'm happy, let's subpoena the minister and do the honorable thing. If she doesn't come after the subpoena, maybe the people of South Africa, whenever they meet her, they must bring her here to Parliament through public arrest, that she must come and account for their resources. Because, you know, it looks like sometimes, in my experience with the Honorable Muthambi, when you put her in charge of norms and standards and the ethical conduct of business, it's like taking a chief criminal, a gangster, for an example, as an example, to go and take over a police station and hope that the crime is going to finish. But that's how we are being crippled by this process. That's precisely why she doesn't see the importance of even coming here. That's the analogy that we have to think with, that maybe the very appointment is meant to undermine the entire work of stabilizing government in South Africa. Because her performance has never been to respect any of the norms, standards, and procedures of good governance ever. And here we are, it's reproducing itself at the helm of that purpose in this department. So that's what we have to say. Please, let's subpoena her, and maybe we can take this.
Members, I was trying to move this meeting in a particular direction, but I've just scanned the environment already. The next item we are supposed to have is to get the 4th quarter performance for the National School of Government, and I regret to advise you that it is also not here. I also wanted to also advise you that the Center for Public Service Innovation on the Center for Public Service and Innovation is also not here, unless I am mistaken. Do we have the center here for Public Service and Innovation? We also do not have it here. Now, it really concerns me, but there's something that I need to correct to Honorable Ndlozi. By the way, I'm a member of the African National Congress, and I'm here. And Comrade Nyami Boy is also a member of the African National Congress, and we are here. So not all is that bad, you know. We're still there. We're still pushing, Honorable Ndlozi. Please notice us, acknowledge that we're still there, you know. Honorable Nyamepoy, then Honorable Ndau, he had his hand before you.
No, I won't go into what Ndlozi is raising, because there's been apologies that have been put in front. But you see, it's unacceptable, Chair, that officials indulge in things that we don't understand. When they are invited to Parliament, they're supposed to be here. And quite clearly, the blame goes to the DG. You start there, he must pay back this money. Don't give him any other space. Tell him Parliament would want him to repay the money. Because there's no other way we are going to, because this process is important. It's important for his own work. And he's supposed to be the good example with the presiding of the minister over this particular process. So I don't understand where I'm seated that why would officials combined with the executive not be in a meeting which has been properly constituted, and engagement has been done quite a lot. So for me, recover the money, Chairperson, and then maybe deal with the decision-making process. Now, we happen that the officials themselves are not here. We're supposed to report to us. We have come to work. They have decided to stay away from us. We need to get a concrete reason from your side that what is exactly going on so that we can deal with these matters, parliamentarians. We can't be undermined. It's not about you, it's about Parliament, the institution. They must deal with Parliament. If they've got issues, there's a speaker here, they must talk to her. Nobody have done that. And for me, where I'm seated, you are the chair of this committee, and that has been the process. And we need to be able to give respect to that. And officials combined with politicians are supposed to be in front of you to come and account. We don't know anything else, even within the African National Congress, that you are not chairing this particular meeting. It's your duty. And I'm here because we have to make sure that Parliament functions. And there's nobody else who's told us anything else besides sure that we have to come to meetings and make the work to happen.
There's been a suggestion that I'm hoping that Honorable Mutawi will go. You are going to speak on that, maybe support or whatever. It's coming from Honorable Nyamepoy that we need to recover the money from the DG because a lot of expenses have gone into this meeting, and the fact that all the officials that are not here in a properly constituted committee and they were notified in time. So I'm hoping that you should be speaking to that. Over to you, Honorable.
Thank you. That might be the second leg of the issue I want to raise, Chair. Honorable Ndlozi referred to possibility that the minister is not here because you are in the chair. My question is, are you aware of the letter to the Chief Whip of the ANC by the members of this committee who are not here today, because we have it on very good authority that they are not here because they say they cannot be led by you. Now, if that is the case, it means you need to go into this thing as you go into the issue of the minister, and of course look into the implications for tomorrow's meeting. We have a meeting tomorrow, and if these people are still holding that view and attitude, we're going to have a very serious issue to deal with.
Okay, Honorable Nyamepoy. I note you, Honorable
Chair,
Waters.
just to clarify the issue, there's no change of leadership in this committee. You are the chair of this committee, and that's what I know. And I don't even see what would be the debate about that in the Portfolio Committee meeting. Those members that have done whatever is being circulated, it's their own business. The movement will sort out its own problems. But here, you are the chair, and there's nothing that has ever changed from that. You chair today, you chair tomorrow, you chair any other time, until we get the information. There's nothing that has changed, Chairperson.
Thank you. Members, I don't want you to be left with the wrong impression. We have no meeting tomorrow. There is no scheduled meeting tomorrow. We were going to deliberate on all the issues today, and this was the only scheduled meeting. Yes, Honorable Waters.
On the NYDA, fourth quarter performance, finances. So that's
No, it's the 5th, it's the 16th.
It's the 16th, according to that.
We can explain that we had to review because NYDA were not going to be available tomorrow. So, but we want to say we were going to announce that at the end of this meeting, to say that meeting has been rescheduled for next week. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Chair?
Yes,
Chair,
Honourable.
a few points. Just on the recouping of the wasted money from the DG, I think we should suggest the DG and the Minister, quite frankly. I don't think the Minister should be left off the hook. Out the personal pockets, not from the department, you know. So I think that's what that we must be quite clear about. Secondly, I'm deeply concerned that officials are actually, it's one, you know, it's not, you can, it's one thing for a minister to boycott, right? I mean, and we can talk, we've talked about that. The fact that she doesn't want to be held accountable. I think she sees Parliament as an irritant more than anything else and an obstacle to achieve her political goals, right? But when public servants, and particularly from this department, that's what gobsmacks me the most, particularly from the Department of Public Service Administration, actually, you know, ignore a committee, as I said before, give us the middle finger, and just think it's okay. It is unbelievable. And I think, apart from the Minister, and I don't want to get overzealous with subpoenaing people, but I do think all those officials that didn't come should also be subpoenaed to come and account. And we must find out from them whether or not they were given instructions not to appear here, and by whom. And I'd like to know, Chair, not to put the representative of the Public Service Commission on the spot, but were they at all put under pressure not to attend this meeting today? And if so, by whom? If we could get some idea from them. Because I think this rot goes far and deep, and we have to nip it in the bud before it becomes the norm across all portfolios where officials and ministers just decide not to attend portfolio committee meetings. Thank you.
Let me give Advocate Sizani to respond to that question before I proceed with the other process issue.
Yeah, no, Chairperson. We were invited to come to the committee and we came.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, I just wanted to, as a process issue, there are quite a few proposals that have been put forward. I just want us to adopt them officially. Is there any objection around the recovery of money from the Minister and the DG in respect of today's meeting? The non-attendance to today's meeting? There's no objection. Thank you very much. Secondly, members, is there any objection in terms of getting the accounting officers of the different entities that were supposed to appear here and did not come and did not even apologize, that we get them here to subpoena them? Yes, Honourable Claus?
No. We must subpoena the DG. That is the accounting officer, without whom we cannot do, even if those entities were here, it's difficult. I mean, that's what the PMFA is talking about. So the subpoena must be limited to the DG and the Minister. Because once we get them here and we correct their actions, everything else will run smooth. So stepping into their territory might not be the wisdom as yet, but we can always recover the monies that I'm told, I didn't see Faith Muthambi honorable in the morning, but if they did come to the city because of the idea that they're going to attend this meeting, then the money must be recovered. But we don't agree that the subpoena must move beyond the DG and the Minister, because we can establish that there is a political move by them. So if they are the ones that instructed entities not to come and all those things, we should hear from them first and then proceed from there. That is where the sort of slight change we would introduce.
Honourable Ndlozi, I think you have to remember that in terms of the PMFMA, the heads of the entities are accounting officers, and they are accountable to Parliament. And when we appropriate the vote for them, their budget, they are the people who are the accounting officers. I would therefore implore upon you that even though we do that, we need to be able to extend it to them as well, because it's also wrong for accounting officers to get into a political space. They don't belong to that space. If they ought at least to have said, this is the dilemma we have, Chairperson. This is the instruction that we received. We don't know what to do, or something like that. There is nothing whatsoever they had communicated with me except that they did not pitch, and that's it. Okay, Honorable Nyami Boy.
No, Chairperson, I was going to say that is just the main reason that no one who's a public servant can undermine you, because you're representing Parliament here. You're not representing your jacket. If you issued an invitation and people don't turn up, there must be a reason. Somebody must write back to you. And you have told this meeting today that they have not done that and they've ignored you. I don't understand which rules are they using to ignore you. I mean, even going to the level of undermining the Constitution, you must put your foot down, Chairperson, and let them bring the money, Chairperson. Let them come and account.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Nyame Boy. I agree with you. Yes, Honorable Klaus?
Well, in that case, then it should be chairpersons and CEOs, not directors only, or the equal.
They are not directors. You are absolutely right. They are CEOs, by the way.
Yes, chairpersons of boards and CEOs.
Yeah.
In that case, and then we can proceed.
Hey, you never wanted to be beaten in an argument. That thing you are saying has already been
but
said.
I agreed. Nobody mentioned chairpersons, and that's my worry, is that in that case, since I'm buying to the argument.
You must learn to be corrected. Yeah, Bon? Yeah, okay.
I didn't know you were an ageist.
I withdraw there. I withdraw. I'm a mother. I tend to, play that role sometimes to get people back online. Okay. Members, I think, yes?
You didn't mention subpoenaing the minister.
Subpoena the minister. The Honorable Ndlozi came with I was going to have her own resolution, but Honorable Ndlozi has kind of listed all of them there. So I think that's the agreement, that we are going to be subpoenaing the minister, and we are going to, I will do all the necessary work and communicate with the chair of the committee, the chair of chairs, or the chair of committees, Honorable Frolick, about the outcomes of this meeting. And I really wanted to apologize sincerely to all the people that have come to this meeting, because they were hoping that we were going to deliberate on these issues. We should not collapse Parliament simply because we are not in agreement with the views of certain members. The institution of Parliament belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to any political party. It belongs to the people of South Africa. It belongs to the members of the public. And therefore, I really wanted to apologize, but I also wanted to say to PSC, I want to apologize to you, because honestly, you've come all the way here, and you did come to this meeting as PSC. And we were hoping that we were going to be able to address some of the areas of concern that you've been raising repeatedly. And this was a meeting that was meant to be addressing the shortfalls that PSC is confronted with right now. And we are hoping that we are going to be able to address those. And I know that even your travel expenses are already eating in that budget, that is already, that is insufficient. that already insufficient budget. But we are going to deal with these matters, and I'm hoping that everyone is going to cooperate with us, because the intention is to build this country and not destroy it. Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Youngboard.
I've listened to the decision we've taken, and it seems to me that we haven't put a time frame on the thing. Shouldn't we be
Can
saying...
you propose time frame, please, Honorable Youngblood?
Next week, on our next meeting, next Wednesday?
Is there any seconder for that, for next week? Thank you. There seems to be unanimity on that one. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members, for taking time on a busy schedule to be here. This is your work. This is what you are elected to do, and I appreciate that. And see you next week. I will do my part. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.